This is the most simple and basic component of life. Our struggles determine our successes. Carefully choose what to care about. If you want to change how you see your problems, you have to change what you value and/or how you measure failure/success. Challenge yourself to find the good and beautiful thing inside of everyone. It's there. It's your job to find it, not their job to show you. Everything we think and feel about a situation ultimately comes back to how valuable we perceive it to be. Being wrong opens us up to the possibility of change. Being wrong brings the opportunity for growth. One of those realizations was this, that life itself is a form of suffering. The rich suffer because of their riches. The poor suffer because of their poverty. It turns out that adversity and failure are actually useful and even necessary for developing strong-minded and successful adults. Commitment allows you to focus intently on a few highly important goals and achieve a greater degree of success than you otherwise would. We are responsible for experiences that aren't our fault all the time. This is part of life. You can't build a better mind without challenging your own beliefs and assumptions. True happiness occurs only when you find the problems you enjoy having and enjoy solving. You can't be an important and life-changing presence for some people without also being a joke and an embarrassment to others. Problems never stop, they merely get exchanged and/or upgraded. Life is about not knowing and then doing something anyway. We are actually often happier with less. When we're overloaded with opportunities and options, we suffer from what psychologists refer to as the paradox of choice. Commitment gives you freedom because you are no longer distracted by the unimportant and frivolous. Everything worthwhile in life is won through surmounting the associated negative experience. The more you desperately want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel, regardless of how much money you actually make. Self-improvement and success often occur together. But that doesn't mean they're the same thing. Happiness is like being cool, the harder you try the less it's going to happen. So stop trying. Start living. Bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is feeling the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, and deciding that something else is more important. You and everyone you know are going to be dead soon. Our crisis is no longer material, it's existential, it's spiritual. Who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. To be happy we need something to solve. Happiness is therefore a form of action. Whether we consciously recognize it or not, we are always responsible for our experiences. What most people don't understand is that passion is the result of action, not the cause of it. A good life is not a life without problems. A good life is a life with good problems. Don't just sit there. Do something. The answers will follow. Life is essentially an endless series of problems. The solution to one problem is merely the creation of another. The more something threatens your identity, the more you will avoid it. There's no such thing. Instead, hope for a life full of good problems. People get addicted to feeling offended all the time because it gives them a high. Being self-righteous and morally superior feels good. We are defined by what we choose to reject. And if we reject nothing, we essentially have no identity at all. Freedom itself demands discomfort. Hopelessness is the root of anxiety, mental illness, and depression. It is the source of all misery and the cause of all addiction. We are responsible for experiences that aren't our fault all the time. This is part of life. Rejection exists for a reason. It's a means to keep people apart who are not good for each other. Sadly, To deny one's negative emotions is to deny many of the feedback mechanisms that help a person solve problems. The less you talk about your shame, the more of it you have. Acts of love are valid only if they're performed without conditions or expectations. Self-control is an illusion. It's an illusion that occurs when both brains are aligned and pursuing the same course of action. Life is about not knowing and then doing something anyway. Humans are attracted to each other's rough edges. Action isn't just the effect of motivation, it's also the cause of it. Ultimately, we are moved to action only by emotion. That's because action is emotion. I have tried to live my life such that in the hour of my death I would feel joy rather than fear. Science is arguably the most effective religion because it is the first religion that is able to evolve and improve upon itself.
Intentions are always speaking 10 times louder than your actual words.